Okay, what's up guys? Paul here with a talking head reaction video this week. I enjoy doing these and I always say it, but I'm going to start doing them more regularly now because I've managed to free up a bit of extra time. My energy's up. Feeling like doing a good few of these. I have a good few lined up. So if you have any suggestions of what kind of stuff you'd like me to talk about or react to, let me know in the comments please. Welcome to all new subscribers. We're doing about 10 new subscribers a day right now. The channel's going really well. A lot of it based off 2 semi-viral videos. It's great to see lots of new subscribers coming in from all different parts of the world. So I hope you guys are also going to enjoy my talking head commentary videos. Alright, let's get straight into it now. Today's video I'm going to be talking about the stand-up comedian Shane Gillis. Alright, and a story he recently told about a bar fight in Dublin on his recent excursion to Dublin for his stand-up tour, and he told his story on Joe Rogan podcast, right? So I clicked into it. My interest was piqued, you know. I'm a Dublin born man. Bars, I used to go to a lot of bars in Dublin, and yeah, I was in a couple of fights, you might say, growing up in Dublin. So let's see what this was about. And so, spoiler alert, I'm going to be reacting and breaking down bit by bit the story, pointing out every time he caps, every time he's clearly telling a brazen and bold-faced lie, because that's what this story is. This story never happened. It's completely made up, and I just think it's a classic example of why I've always had mixed feelings about stand-up comedy, because although I really enjoy great comics telling great stories and jokes, like George Carlin, Eddie Murphy, Dave Chappelle over the years, some of the GOATs, yeah. But, you know, even with the best of them, when they're telling anecdotal stories about things that happened to them in their lives, you just know it's at best 70-80% embellished, alright? They've taken a minor source or ingredient of a story, someone they met in some place, and then they've massively exaggerated to comedic effect all of their features or their behaviors. So let's say, for example, a New York comic telling a story about a crazy person on the metro, right? There's a lot of, on the subway, there's a lot of crazy stuff happens on the New York subway, where it might have just been somebody playing music on the subway with their guitar and ask for money. Now they're smashing the guitar, now they're like taking their clothes off and getting naked. It just becomes a crazier and crazier story for comedic effect. And you know, we actually saw this recently with Hassan Minhaj. Is the latest example of somebody who, I didn't even fully look into this story because I wasn't really aware of him. I'm not familiar with his comedy, but I saw Andrew Schulz talking about him. I saw many people saying that, yeah, this guy, he completely lied in these childhood stories. I think it was to tell stories of racism against him. And so, yeah, but I don't think he should be hung out to dry and drawn over the hot coals, because all these stand-up comics massively cap and lie and embellish and exaggerate their stories. Case in point here with Shane Gillis, alright? He tells a story about, it's called on the Joe Rogan channel, Shane Gillis tells his Dublin bar fight story, alright? Now, like I said at the top, I'm from Dublin. I was out all over Dublin growing up in all different pubs and nightclubs, and I saw a lot of wild stuff, as you do. Like, got involved in some wild situations. In fact, I was in some ways like I was like the protagonist of this story. I was often that guy who would get into trouble on nights out. I wasn't that guy of my group. We have one guy who was like that guy who, you couldn't take him anywhere. He was just always getting kicked out of places. I got kicked out, not only kicked out, I got punched out of one place because of him actually. I got punched from one side of the street to the other. So yeah, I've been the subject of a couple of bouncers' ire on a couple of occasions. Normally not for my own fault, right? It was never, usually not my own doing. I was a bit of an easy target because I was a smaller young lad. A lot of bouncers would like easily pick me out of a group to try to kick me out. So that's important, alright, because in this Shane Gillis story, it's about a bouncer beating up on some guy. and the way to which he explains it happening would never happen. It would never happen. We're going to explain why. And there's just so much details of the story, right? We're going to roll the clip and we're going to get into reacting to it, and I'm going to explain bit by bit why it's all just such a clearly made up story. Being the most generous, he met one drunk guy, so about 5% of it is true. The rest of it is all made up, alright? Let's play.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
I got a good story for you.
Yay, we got a story.
It's very funny. So I was at Notre Dame Navy this last week in Dublin.
You hunchback?
Yeah. I am a fucking hunchback.
That's why it worked.
You just got back from England? From Ireland?
Yeah.
Wow.
And anyway, the first night we're down there. We did a show Thursday. Then we're down there. I brought my father, which was very funny to see. All right. So this guy comes down. Phil's down there. We go to this bar with Brady Quinn. He's one of the Notre Dame all-time legends. J-Mo knows him.
I know him.
J-Mo.
You know Brady Quinn. He's Dublin, Ohio boy.
Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, let's go.
Hell yeah.
But
Buckeye.
we're at this bar. We're drinking after the show. This fucking Irish kid shows up. He is Conor McGregor. Skin-tight pants, fucking button-down. No offense to him. Coked out of his mind.
Sure.
You've never seen someone this high in your life.
The old Adam Egan.
So he swipes. We're sitting there drinking. He swipes all the beers off the corner of the bar, reaches over Brady Quinn's shoulder, and is to me, he's like, "Big fucking fan, man." And I was like, "Oh, thanks, man."
All right. So, pause it there, and we're going to review what he said so far, all right? He says, this guy is Conor McGregor, all right? So, we see the hook for this story is a Conor McGregorish character, all right? Now, a lot of Conor McGregorish characters did start to appear and pop up around Dublin circa 2014 to 2018, all right? I was one of them. Yeah, guilty as charged. Anyone who's followed me for a long time knows I was a McGregor fan. Decidedly not now anymore. Have not been for quite a long time now, and that's well documented on the channel. I think he's become an absolute disgrace over the last couple of years. But yeah, I was a card-carrying McGregor fan. I had the top knot. I grew the beard. You know, I did it all. I really definitely was influenced by him. He was magnetic. He was a force of life for so many young people, so inspirational. But in 2023, there are no longer Conor McGregorish characters knocking about the streets of Dublin, acting like McGregor and trying to be like McGregor. Nobody wants to be like him anymore. He's no longer idolised. He's actually largely despised. He was booed on stage at the Snoop Dogg concert recently in Dublin. And yeah, just anyone you talk to really who's watched his rise and fall, nobody really wants to talk about McGregor in a positive way these days. So the notion that there's a guy, we're going to assume he doesn't give the age description of a guy, but the guy must be in his mid-20s, we're going to say up to mid-30s, is acting like McGregor, is that's just ridiculous. There's no way. You don't meet people like that anymore. And you know, this is a case of a comedian wanting a story to be true and inventing the story, because I've seen him on Rogan, and we can pull this clip up where Shane Gillis has actually said when he's sitting at home drinking, because he likes a drink, Shane Gillis, when he's sitting at home drinking his Bud Lights, he replays the Conor McGregor Nate Diaz Fox Sports News side by side interview, the famous one. So Gillis really loves that old McGregor, right? So that's why this story, that's why that's relevant, because in this story, when he went to Dublin, he wanted to come home with a Conor McGregorish story and to be able to regale to American fans that there's these mystical Conor McGregorish characters walking around, and it's all because he's such a legend there. But no, it didn't happen, all right? And yeah, just one detail of the story here. He says he swipes all the beers off the bar. What's that mean? Like he smashed them all onto the ground? He swiped all the beers off the table. Is that what he's saying? That beers were just smashed onto the floor? Didn't happen, if that's what I understood by that. All right, let's continue.
Like, oh, thanks, man. And Brady Quinn just gave one of these, like, fucking
who the fuck's this guy? Damn, this guy's crazy.
Yeah.
And when he did that, he bumped him a little, and the guy immediately was like, "You don't fucking bump me." He started fucking doing his whole UFC thing. So he's spazzed. We all have to break it up. We have to break up this fight.
All right. So he says that this guy accidentally bumped Brady, a Notre Dame ex-NFL player. That NFL game that happened in Dublin, I think it was like, it's a Legends game, isn't it? So he's saying that Brady, I know it's not Tom Brady, but whoever the guy's name is, he's a Brady. He's a American footballer, ex-American footballer named Brady, who you're going to assume is a big brick shithouse. That just by grazing off this character of the story, the McGregorish character, he said, "You don't bleed and bump me," and then he started doing all his UFC stuff, which, by the way, it's called MMA. It's not called UFC stuff. UFC is a sports organization. And he says that he immediately started to try to fight the American footballer, Cap. There's no way. He came over, first of all, being friendly, saying, "I'm a big fan of you, Shane Gillis," and immediately he's going to want to start a fight with him over brushing off him. Even if the guy's a coke fiend, nah, wouldn't happen.
Like 20 fucking minutes.
Jesus.
I turn around, my father is back there going, his fist sticking right there. I turn around, he's ready to go. Phil's ready to go. What the fuck are you going to do?
All right, Phil.
Stopping the fight for 20 minutes. Come on. I know I'm picking out every embellishment here, but
defending Brady Quinn in Dublin.
Oh, I'd be a hero.
Vikings death. That is how my dad should go.
Totally.
I mean, that's legend. Anyway,
Yeah.
so we break this fight up.
20 minutes
The
breaking
guy's
the
fan,
fight.
he's like, let's do a fucking Jaeger bomb. Let's have let's take it easy, man. I was like, all right, I'll do a Jaeger bomb. We get shit faced. This guy's on a coke rant for like 15 minutes of just straight like, fucking nah. But he's
Brady Quinn, so you can.
Damn, Brady Quinn rules.
He's
Brady
a
Quinn's,
hunk.
he's the man. So
He's
anyway,
a handsome dude.
this guy's full UFC. He's genuinely an MMA guy.
Oh, really?
He trains with McGregor.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Allegedly, he was on cocaine. He might have been fabricating.
Sure. It's Patty Pimp.
But you know how these guys go. He just shadow boxes the whole time. You're talking to him, and he's like, "Yeah, fucking body shot, liver, bang straight to your fucking face."
That's complete bullshit. You know how these guys are, right? So this guy, they say, Gillis says this guy claims he trains currently with Conor McGregor out of SBG, and that while they're in the bar, he's like doing shadow boxing and talking about liver punch. No, like, I'm just trying to highlight bit by bit that, yeah, there's mad characters in Dublin, yeah. On nights out, people tell mad stories and talk all sorts of shit, but it's all too on the nose. It's all too on the nose to create a McGregorish character of a guy that's going to be shadow boxing there in the bar and starting fights with you and doing Jaeger bombs with you. It's just too on the nose, alright?
This guy sounds like a nightmare.
Jesus Christ, hell, dude. And you can't move. You can't like flinch to the body because then you'll literally get punched in the fucking face.
Yeah.
And then we're like, "Oh, we're gonna kill him." And he's like,
If you flinch to the body, you'll literally get punched in the face. So he's not only shadow boxing, he's shadow boxing to the point of tagging you. He's actually touching you and tagging you with his punches. Wouldn't you just tell him to fuck off at this point? You're like 4 or 5 guys with an American footballer, Brady, and you're with your father. Just say, "Mate, can you leave us alone?" But they're humouring him along to this point and letting him be in their company.
"You're a fucking Nate Diaz guy, aren't you?" And I was like, "No way, that's what this is about. This guy's gonna beat my ass in Dublin for being a Nate Diaz guy."
Right.
Oh, that might be the biggest cap of the whole story. That was where I think he gave it all away. That was where he gave it all away. You're a Nate Diaz guy. And I said it earlier at the top right, he loves the McGregor-Diaz rivalry, does Gillis, because he plays it at home many nights of the week when he's drinking his Bud Lights, and he'll review it and laugh about it. He wants to believe that the McGregor-Diaz rivalry still exists in Dublin people's minds, and that we see it almost like a soccer sporting rivalry, like Manchester United, Liverpool, or like Barcelona, Real Madrid, that there's Diaz Irish fans and there's McGregor Diaz fans, and when they cross paths, they're gonna fight. No, like no McGregor fan would even the biggest McGregor fan to this day, he would say you're a Khabib fan at worst. at being the most generous, yeah? Oh, you're a Nate Diaz fan. No way did he say that. There's no way this character, who probably never existed, said to him, oh, you're a Nate Diaz fan and now you're on our side because we all love McGregor here. No. Most people don't love McGregor anymore. Quite the opposite.
Anyway, the whole night, the guy leaves, everything's okay. The next night, get done with the shows. Brady's in the green room. We're all hanging out, we're having a good time. That fucking Irish guy just walks straight into the green room.
What? Of the theater?
Yeah. What? And Brady Quinn looks at me like, what? Why would you invite this guy? I was like, dude, I did not invite this fucking guy. He walks in, he's like, ah.
Alright, I've never been in a green room. I know that that's the behind the stage room where comics and musicians and artists, that's their safe haven, right? That's the place where they get to be with their friends and security won't let anybody else in. So how did this guy get into the green room? How was he just allowed in? That has to be explained. There's no way he could have just got in. What, he's come and followed them for the next day? Come on now.
Fucking crazy, I was like, dude, this is the whole time. He's still shadow boxing, still bothering everybody in a good way though. At this point, it's fun.
Yeah.
He's bothering everybody. We start walking. We start going to a bar. He's like, we'll go to this fucking bar. I'm like, dude, all the bars in Dublin close at midnight.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, this is Dublin. This is in fucking gay New York. The bars stay open. Every bar we go to is closed. I'm like, dude, Dublin sucks. New York rules. He's like, we don't have in Dublin fucking pronouns. The next 3 people that walk by us are gay interracial couples.
Did you hear Rogan's fake laugh there? There's no way this guy said that. This guy's supposed to be like a wild cokehead, and he brings up a pronoun joke. We don't have in Ireland pronouns, as in he's got the culture war wits. He's making jokes about the culture war, saying that New York is too left, too pro LGBTQ, and in Dublin we're not into that. Well, Dublin was actually the first country in the world to legalise gay marriage, and yeah, there's no way, ain't no way that joke was made. There's no way he said that. No way he said that.
I was like, Dublin's gay. We finally get to a bar. This guy, the whole time, all he's been doing is trying to fight everybody. We get to a bar. We start.
Whoa! He just said on the second night, this guy is cool now, and he's all right. Like, he's just shadow boxing. But now it's that he's trying to fight everybody. He got into the green room and he's trying to fight everybody. The guy sounds like a complete another psychopath. A truly dangerous individual that's trying to fight everybody. You mean that like he's really trying to fight you guys, and that you've still got the massive ex-NFL player with you? Come on now, it's too unbelievable now that this guy, you're gonna let this guy away with that for that long. Wouldn't you all just tell him to get out of here? Or the big NFL guy would have had a stern word with him, maybe see, can we step outside and sort this? Yeah,
let's go to that bar. You're a fucking legend at that bar. Let's go to that one, not this one.
Let's go to that bar. It's bar, by the way, if you're speaking North Dublin accent. Everyone's praising him for his Dublin accent. It's alright, but he's just trying to do a Conor McGregor. Let's go to that bar. No, we say let's go to that bar. Let's go to that bar. You're a legend at that bar. Why would that guy say, Shane Gillis, you're a legend at that bar? Shane Gillis has been around a wet week in American comedy circles. He's probably done 2 tours in Dublin max. He only blew up by being on Joe Rogan about 18 months ago. He's miles off still ever being a household name. So like, why would the guy say you're a legend in this bar?
I'm like, let's go, we're going to this one. So we go into the bar. As soon as we start walking in, a bouncer, just a bald, fat bouncer walks out and is like, you. Just beats the shit out of the Irish guy.
Okay, I said the biggest cap was the Nate Diaz part, but this is the biggest cap, the crescendo, or the culmination, the punchline of the story, if you will, is that when they get to a bar, a fat, bald bouncer, of course, had to be on the nose, a bald bouncer. They're not all bald, right? Probably only about 30% of bouncer are bald at that. Baldest. He says the guy immediately came out and clocked their McGregorish character, our protagonist, our tragic hero of the story, sort of an Irish Don Quixote, yeah? So, here's the thing, like I said at the top, I've been kicked out of bars and clubs physically. I've been punched from one side of the street to the other. When it's over, it's over. Alright, you come back the next day and no bouncer is ever going to give you any trouble. Unless he's barred you. He says, you're barred and you're not allowed back in here. He remembers your face. But there's no chance he's going to just attack a guy who he kicked out of the bar maybe 10 days ago or 2 weeks ago. There's just no way. Gotcha. Mosquitoes. Alright. There's no way. That would be a lawsuit of epic proportions. He's now going to say that 5 of them jumped this guy. Let's play that on.
This whole time he's been like, fucking knock out anybody, no problem. Why? A regular, but he must have had a problem. The whole time he was like, let's go to another bar. God. The second we get to this bar, 5 bouncers swarm and just start wailing.
Alright, 5 bouncers swarm him and just start wailing on him. There's no way. That has never ever happened. For all the people I ever used to go out clubbing and bar hopping with in Dublin, and these were many years of many misadventures and madness, we all got kicked out of places. We never once, like, if we went back to the place, the bouncer would try to attack us, or I've never heard of that happening. It doesn't happen unless you had, like, unless that guy, who was a fictional character, had attempted to murder a family member of the bouncer. Why would he just come out and start smashing him and beating the crap out of him? Well, because he kicked him out of the bar a few weeks ago for being in a fight? There's no way 5 of them just hopped on him and started beating him up. No chance. Without any explanation. They didn't come out and try to say, you know, you're not coming in tonight, or you're barred. They just jumped on him. What, and wailed on him to the point, 5 guys jump on you, you're going to be hospitalised. This would be a national story in Ireland. Trust me, because despite what an American guy like him wants to try to portray, that we're all mad fighting Irish, Ireland's actually a significantly less violent country than the US, for example. There's way less bar fights, way less, just domestic, mad sorts of violence happening on the streets of a night out in Dublin than in most parts of New York, Boston, Los Angeles.
He's like, no, we're good here. Now, this is how cool this fucking guy was. He gets his ass beat, he's bloody, he's split open. He gets out of all 5 of them, runs down the alley, and then turns and looks at all of them and goes... he squares up and runs off again. It was like, damn, that guy ruled.
Okay.
Anyway.
Does that every week?
That's a hell of a job. Anyway, that was the best guy I've ever met.
That was a Dublin.
It was in Dublin. He said, fucking run Dublin, man. We fucking have some fucking beers. You get Vicar Street? Yeah. Vicar Street fucking rules.
Great venue.
Alright, so then he managed to get away from being beaten up by 5 bouncers, and then when he got to the end of the street, he did like a boxing stance to say, I'm still standing. Right. Yeah. I broke it down bit by bit, because as I was hearing the story first time, that's the second time I listened to it back, and I see every single comment lapping it up like, oh, what an amazing storyteller. Yeah, it's easy to tell a story if you made it all up. We can all do that. Like, just embellish every detail. What I think probably happened, they met this guy who, maybe, I wouldn't even say there was a guy acting like McGregor, but maybe he saw a couple of guys in and around the city. He overheard stories. That's what these stand-up comics are doing when they're telling these stories. They're taking a little bit from here and a little bit from there, and then creating a whole fabricated story around that, like something out of a movie. That just, for the guy to be, he's trying to fight them, he's coked up, he's saying he trains with Conor McGregor. How did he get into the green room? Why did they let him stay so long? Why did the bouncer just jump on him and start beating him up? And the whole way that he just had to be a McGregor clone. One of the biggest tells of them all, again, like I said, there are no more Conor McGregor clones on the streets of Dublin. They have not been sighted since at the latest 2019, yeah, since McGregor started losing all his fights, right? He lost to Khabib in 2018, and he beat Cowboy in 2019. He hasn't won a fight since then, right? And there's no one travelling over to see his big fights anymore. People barely are interested if he's going to fight anymore, if he will fight Michael Chandler or not. So there's nobody going around saying, "Oh, I'm Conor McGregor," yeah, like, and like, it was already cringe. I was cringe if I ever mimicked him a little bit. I mimicked him in real mimics, but if I ever actually sounded like him, I could put my hand up about that. But there's nobody doing it in 2023. Yeah, so look, yeah, I just wanted to highlight this because it sort of grinds my gears when these stand-up comics are telling blatant lies to people who have paid money into their events. Like, if you don't have a real story, you could just say, look, I suppose they can't say this is not true, but come up with better shit, like better observational stuff, like people like George Carlin talking about society. These stories of the people they meet and the things that happen are just so blatant lies most of the time, yeah? So, there we go. That was that. Shane Gillis, fake story. Cheers, guys.